Hello everybody, welcome to the 1967 Foreign World Cup. So, last season, Graham Hill has secured his second Foreign Olympic Drivers' title. Meanwhile, the United Kingdom have won the Nations competition for the 8th time. So, will this be the season someone puts their streak to an end, or will the United Kingdom make it a 9th title? Without further ado, let's meet the 1967 drivers. And here are the first four teams, the only four teams that competed in the 1966 season: the United Kingdom, Italy, the United States and West Germany. The United Kingdom do retain Graham Hill, the defending champions, along with John Surtees, Jim Clark and Jackie Stewart. Italy have a pretty good lineup with Ludovico Scarfiotti, Lorenzo Bandini, Leo Sella and Gianpiero Biscaldi. The United States have also got a strong lineup with Dan Gurney, AJ Foyt, Mario Andretti and Bobby Unser, and West Germany complete the first four teams with Hans Hermann, Rolf Stoneman, Herbert Lynch and Jochen Hirschbach to represent the team. Next up we have got Australia, that's team number 5 with Jack Brabham, Frank Gardner, Paul Hawkins and Brian Muir. Mexico are team number 6 with a strong lineup with Fred Van Buren, Ricardo Rodriguez Calvez, Pedro Rodriguez and Moises Solana. Belgium have Jackie X, Willie Maurice, Burleys and Lucien Bianchi, with Canada completing the first 8 teams with Alpes, Epi Waits, Craig Fisher and George Eaton to represent Canada. And finally, the last two teams are Switzerland and France. Switzerland having a strong lineup with Joe Siffert, Dieter Spori, Ricardo Steinman and Andre Wicki. With France got Guy Ligier, Jean-Pierre Beltois, Omri Grandsire and Jean Vinatier to represent the team. So that is our 10 teams for the 1967 World Cup. Next up, let's take a look at the group lineup. So here are the group lineup. So Group A, we've got a very competitive lineup with Jackie Stewart, Jochen Hirschbach, AJ Foyt and Willie Maurice, so they could be the ones to watch out for in Group A. Group B have got a very fearsome lineup, probably the most fearsome of the 4 groups, with Graham Hill, Lorenzo Bandini, Mario Andretti, Rolf Stoneman and Lucien Bianchi in this group. Group C, we've got John Surtees, Ludovico Scarfiotti, Bobby Unser, Hans Hermann and Jackie X, that are going to be the ones to watch out for. Group D with Jim Clark and Dan Gurney, Herbert Lynch and Jack Brabham. They're going to be a very fearsome group as well. So all 4 groups are looking really competitive. Without further ado, let's make our way over to Group A to kick off the 1967 Formula 1 World Cup. And here we go, we're on to Group A for the 1967 Foreign World Cup, and without further ado, let's get right into the action and see how things will go. So kick off the first round. We go to South Africa at Kalami, and Jackie Stewart takes the win. Moises Solana is 6th for Mexico, Andre Wicki is 3rd, Jochen Hirschbach is 4th, and Frank Gardner rounding off your top 5. Over to race number 2. We head to the 24 Hours of Daytona and Frank Gardner takes the win for Australia. Jackie Stewart is 2nd, Leo Sella is 3rd for Italy, Jean Vinatier is 4th and Craig Fisher rounds off your top 5. Race number 3. We go to the 12 Hour Sebring. Leo Sella takes the win for Italy. Jackie Stewart is 2nd, Andre Wicki is 3rd, Craig Fisher is 4th and Jochen Hirschbach rounding off your top 5. And to the first quarter Group A, we go to the 1000 kilometers of Monza and Leo Sella takes the win at his home race, with Jochen Hirschbach in 2nd, Andre Wicki is 3rd, Jackie Stewart is in 4th and Frank Gardner rounds off your top 5. So 4 races in. Leading the way is Jackie Stewart with 78 points, Leo Sella is 2nd with 74 points, Andre Wicki is 3rd with 57 points, then it's Jochen Hirschbach in 4th with 54 points, and to wrap the top 5 is Frank Gardner with 53 points, with Willie Maurice of Belgium at the bottom of the board along with AJ Foyt of the United States, both sharing 32 points apiece. Going to race number 5. We head to the 1000 kilometers at Spa-Francorchamps, and it's Craig Fisher takes the win for Canada. Leo Sella is 6th for Italy. Moises Solana is 3rd for Mexico. Frank Gardner is 4th, and Jochen Hirschbach rounds off the top 5 for West Germany as Jackie Stewart finishes in 6th place. Race number 6, we go to Monaco, and Andre Wicki takes the win for Switzerland. Craig Fisher is 2nd, Jackie Stewart is 3rd, 4th is Leo Sella, and Frank Gardner rounds off the top 5 for Australia. Race number 7, we head to the Targa Florio and Moises Solana takes the win for Mexico, AJ Foyt is 2nd, Craig Fisher is 3rd, Jackie Stewart is 4th and Jochen Hirschbach rounds off your top 5. And to complete the first half of Group A, we go to the 1,000 kilometers of the Nürburgring. AJ Foyt takes the win for the United States, Jochen Neerpasch is in second, William Moraes is third, Frank Gardner is fourth, and Craig Fisher runs the top 5 as Jackie Stewart finishes in 10th place. So halfway into Group A and leading the way is now Leo Sella with 127 points, Jackie Stewart slips down to second with 123 points, Craig Fisher for Canada is third with 110 points, fourth is Jochen Neerpasch of West Germany and Andre Wicki of Switzerland, who both share 105 points each, with Jean Finitard of France at the bottom of the board currently with 67 points. Going up to race number 9, at the Indy 500, and it's Craig Fisher that wins for Canada, Jean Finitard is second for France, Frank Gardner third for Australia, Jochen Neerpasch is fourth, Leo Sella rounding off your top 5. And race number 10, we go to the Netherlands, and Craig Fisher takes another win for Canada. Andre Wicki is second for Switzerland, Jochen Neerpasch is in third, William Moraes is fourth, Jackie Stewart rounds off the top 5 as Leo Sella finishes 8th for Italy. Race number 11, we go to the 24 Hours of Le Mans, and it's Jackie Stewart that takes the win. Frank Gardner is in second, Jean Finitard is third, Craig Fisher is fourth, and Jochen Neerpasch rounds off the top 5 as Leo Sella finishes in 10th place. And to complete the third quarter of Group A, we go back to Belgium, and it's Jackie Stewart that takes the win, with Andre Wicki in second, Frank Gardner is in third, Leo Sella fourth, and Jean Finitard rounds off your top 5. So with only 4 races left to go, leading the way it is Jackie Stewart once again with 191 points, Craig Fisher of Canada goes up into second with 182 points, Leo Sella is third with 165 points, fourth is Andre Wicki with 163 points, and Frank Gardner of Australia rounds off the top 5 with 155 points. At the bottom of the board is William Moraes of Belgium with 109 points. Going over to race number 13, we go to Pikes Peak. Frank Gardner wins for Australia, Jochen Neerpasch is second for West Germany, Jackie Stewart is third, Leo Sella fourth, and William Moraes rounds off your top 5. Race number 14, we go to the Telegraph Trophy 200, and Jackie Stewart racks up another victory. Jochen Neerpasch is in second, AJ Foyt is third, fourth is William Moraes, and Moses Solana rounds off the top 5 for Mexico. And going to the penultimate race, we go to France at the Bugatti circuit. Jackie Stewart wins again, Moses Solana is second, Craig Fisher is third, AJ Foyt is fourth, and Frank Gardner of Australia rounds up your top 5. And for the 16th and final race, we go to Silverstone. William Moraes takes the win with Craig Fisher in second, Jackie Stewart is third, Frank Gardner is fourth, and AJ Foyt rounds off the top 5. And the winner of Group A, it is Jackie Stewart with 273 points. Craig Fisher is second for Canada with 235 points. Finishing third is Jochen Neerpasch of West Germany with 212 points. Frank Gardner takes fourth for Australia with 210 points. Leo Sella drops down to fifth with 202 points for Italy. Sixth is Andre Wicki of Switzerland with 196 points. AJ Foyt is seventh with 180 points for the United States. Moses Solana for Mexico is eighth with 139 points. William Moraes takes 9th for Belgium with 167 points, and in 10th place Jean Finitard with 146 points for France. Even though this will be a direct reflection, let's take a look at the standings before we head over to Group B. So looking at the results, and after Group A, it's a direct reflection, but what a good start there for Jackie Stewart and for the United Kingdom to go after winning another Drivers and Nations Championship title. Craig Fisher, big surprise, doing really well for Canada. Jochen Neerpasch did pretty well for West Germany. A good start for Frank Gardner for Australia's chance as well. But a massive disappointment for the United States and for Belgium, down in 7th and 9th position. It is only the first group, we still have 3 groups left to go, but the question is, can they bounce back from their early start? And here we go, it's Group B for the 1967 Formula World Cup, and without further ado, let's get to the first round of South Africa, which is going to be won by Fred Van Buren of Mexico, Lucy Bianchi side for Belgium, Henry Grandsire is third for France, Mario Andretti fourth, and Graham Hill rounds off your top 5. Going to race number 2, we head to the 24 Hours of Daytona. Mario Andretti takes the win for the United States, Graham Hill second for the United Kingdom, Rolf Stolen is third for West Germany, fourth is Henry Grandsire of France, and Lorenzo Bandini rounding off your top 5 for Italy. Going to race number 3, the 12-hour Sebring. Lucien Bianchi wins for Belgium, Brian Muir is second for Australia, Henry Grandsire is third for France, Al Pease is fourth for Canada, and Lorenzo Bandini rounds off the top 5 for Italy. And to complete the first quarter of Group B, the 1,000 kilometers of Monza. Dieter Spori wins for Switzerland, Brian Muir is second for Australia, Al Pease third for Canada, 4th is Graham Hill, and Ross Stolen rounds up the top 5 for West Germany. So after 4 races, leading the way, it is Lucien Bianchi of Belgium with 62 points. Brian Muir is second for Australia with 58 points. Third, Mario Andretti with 57 points. Fourth, Henry Grandsire of France with 51 points. And to round the top 5 is Graham Hill of the United Kingdom with 50 points, with Dieter and Fred Van Buren of Switzerland and Mexico respectively with 49 points, with Lorenzo Badi in 10th position with 36 points for Italy. Going to race number 5, we head to the 1,000 kilometers of Spa-Francorchamps. Ross Stolen takes the win for West Germany. Mario Andretti second for the United States. Third is Alpes of Canada. Brian Muir 4th for Australia, and Lorenzo Badi rounds up the top 5 as Lucien Bianchi finishes in 8th place. Race number 6, we go to Monaco. Lorenzo Badi wins for Italy. Dieter Spori is second. Ross Stolen is third for West Germany. Fourth is Brian Muir, and Alpes rounds off the top 5 as Lucien Bianchi this time finishes in 10th place. Race number 7, we go to the Targa Florio, and it's a win for Mario Andretti of the United States. Henry Grandsire is second for France. Dieter Spori is third for Switzerland. Fourth is Alpes of Canada, and to round the top 5 is Lucien Bianchi of Belgium. And to complete the first half of Group B, we go to the 1,000 kilometers of the Nürburgring. Graham Hill takes the win with Lucien Bianchi in second, Dieter Spori in third, Brian Muir fourth, and Henry Grandsire rounding off your top 5. So we're halfway into Group B, and leading the way it is now Mario Andretti with 122 points, Dieter Spori second with 108 points, Lucien Bianchi drops down to third with 107 points, fourth is Brian Muir of Australia with 103 points, and to round the top 5 is Graham Hill with 101 points, one more than Ross Stolen in 6th for West Germany with 100 points. Fred Van Buren of Mexico is bottom of the board as we stand with 81 points. Going to race number 9, we head to the Indy 500. Alpes wins for Canada. Graham Hill's in second. Henry Grandsire is third for France. Fourth is Mario Andretti. And Dieter Spori rounding off your top 5. Race number 10, we go to the Netherlands. Alpes wins again with Lucien Bianchi in second. Brian Muir is third for Australia. Fourth is Fred Van Buren of Mexico. And Mario Andretti rounds off the top 5 for the United States. Race number 11, we go to the 24 Hours of Le Mans, and once again it's a win for Alpes of Canada. Lorenzo Badi is in second, Brian Muir is third for Australia, Henry Grandsire is fourth for France, and to round the top 5 is Mario Andretti of the United States. And to complete the third quarter of Group B, we go to Belgium. Lorenzo Badi takes the win, Brian Muir is in second, Graham Hill is in third, Henry Grandsire fourth for France, and Mario Andretti rounding off your top 5. So with 4 races left to go, leading the way it is now Alpes of Canada with 171 points. Mario Andretti is second with 168 points. Brian Muir of Australia is third with 162 points. Lorenzo Badi fourth for Italy with 154 points. And to wrap the top 5 is Lucien Bianchi of Belgium with 150 points, with Fred Van Buren at the bottom of the board with 120 points for Mexico. Going to race number 13, we go to Pikes Peak, and it's Graham Hill that takes the win for the United Kingdom. Lorenzo Badi is in second, Ross Stolen is third for West Germany, fourth Mario Andretti of the United States, and Lucien Bianchi rounding off the top 5 as Alpes finishes in 10th place. Race number 14, we go to the Telegraph Trophy 200. Brian Muir wins for Australia, Graham Hill second for the United Kingdom, Ross Stolen is third for West Germany, Fred Van Buren fourth for Mexico, and Lucien Bianchi rounds off the top 5 for Belgium. It's Alpes finishes in 10th position for Canada. Race number 15, we go to the Bugatti circuit in France. Lorenzo Badi takes the win with Lucien Bianchi in second, Fred Van Buren is third, Dieter Spori is fourth of Switzerland, and Graham Hill rounding off the top 5 for the United Kingdom as Alpes finishes in 9th place. And for the 16th and final race at Silverstone, the win goes to Graham Hill. Fred Van Buren third for Mexico, Brian Muir third for Australia, fourth is Lucien Bianchi of Belgium, and Henry Grandsire rounds off the top 5 for France as Alpes finishes in 6th place for Canada. And the winner of Group B, it is Graham Hill with 230 points. Brian Muir is second for Australia with 221 points. Lorenzo Badi takes third for Italy with 212 points. Fourth is Mario Andretti of the United States with 208 points. Lucien Bianchi is fifth for Belgium with 205 points. Sixth is Alpes, who went from first down to sixth for Canada with 200 points. Dieter Spori is seventh for Switzerland with 186 points. Eighth is Henry Grandsire of France with 184 points. Fred Van Buren is 9th for Mexico with 179 points, and Rostollen is 10th for West Germany with 135 points. So with that result, let's now take a look at the drivers and the nations tables before we head over to Group C. So that's the first two groups out of the way and two more left to go. Jackie Stewart does hold on to the lead. Craig Fisher still holds on to second place for Canada. However, Jackie Stewart's teammate Graham Hill is in third. That helps the United Kingdom extend their lead over Canada in the Nations Championship standings. But Canada and Australia are doing pretty well to try and keep the United Kingdom reined in, with Australia having both their drivers in the top 10 with Brian Muir and Frank Gardner. That is a very, very impressive performance there for Australia. Can they keep this up with the last two groups left to go? Will they be able to catch the United Kingdom, or will anyone else be able to close down the United Kingdom's chances of running away with the competition? And here we go, it's Group C for the 1967 Formula World Cup, and without further ado, let's get to round number 1 of South Africa, as we won by Guy Ligia of France, with Ludovico Scarfiotti second for Italy, Joseph third for Switzerland, John Surrey takes 4th, and Jackie X rounds off the top 5 for Belgium. Race number 2 at Daytona. It's Joseph that takes the win for Switzerland. Wheats is second for Canada. Scarfiotti third for Italy. Hans Hermann fourth for West Germany. And Guy Ligia rounds off the top 5 for France. Race number 3, we head to the 12-hour sea break. Jackie X wins for Belgium. John 30 second for the United Kingdom. Guy Ligia is in third for France. Epi Wheats is fourth for Canada. And Ludovico Scarfiotti rounds off the top 5 for Italy. And to wrap up the first quarter of Group C, we go to the 1,000 kilometers of Monza, and Epi Wheats takes the win for Canada. John Surrey second for the United Kingdom, Guy Ligia is third for France, Hans Hermann is fourth for West Germany, and Scarfiotti rounds off the top 5 for Italy. With the first quarter out of the way, looking at the standings, it's Guy Ligia leading the way for France with 68 points. Wheats is second for Canada with 64 points. John 30 is third for the United Kingdom with 62 points. In fourth is Ludovico Scarfiotti of Italy with 58 points. And to round the top 5 is Siffert of Switzerland with 55 points, which is one more than Jackie X with 54 points for Belgium. Ricardo Rodriguez Cavazos is bottom of the board for Mexico with 27 points. Going over to race number 5, we head to the 1,000 kilometers of Spa-Francorchamps. Ludovico Scarfiotti wins for Italy, Joe Siffert is second for Switzerland, Jackie X is third for Belgium, Bobby Unser is fourth for the United States, and Paul Hawkins rounds off the top 5 for Australia, as Guy Ligia finishes in 9th position for France. Going over to race number 6, we go to Monaco. Epi Wheats wins for Canada. John Surrey second for the United Kingdom. Guy Ligia is third for France. Jackie X is fourth for Belgium. And Scarfiotti rounds off the top 5 for Italy. Going to race number 7, we head for the Targa Florio. And it is Ludovico Scarfiotti winning for Italy. Jackie X is second for Belgium. Ricardo Rodriguez third for Mexico in third. John Surrey takes fourth for the United Kingdom. And Paul Hawkins rounds off the top 5 for Australia, as Guy Ligia finishes in 8th place. And to complete the first half of Group C, we go to the 1,000 kilometers of the Nürburgring. John Surrey takes the win. Paul Hawkins third for Australia. Ludovico Scarfiotti third for Italy. Ricardo Rodriguez fourth for Mexico. And Joe Siffert rounds off the top 5 for Switzerland, as Guy Ligia finishes in 7th. So halfway into Group C, leading the way is Scarfiotti with 135 points. John 36th for the United Kingdom with 128 points. Epi Wheats is third for Canada with 115 points. Fourth is Jackie X of Belgium with 109 points. And Guy Ligia rounds off the top 5 with 108 points for France. As Bobby Unser for the United States and Ricardo Rodriguez Cavazos of Mexico tying for the bottom spot on the board with 72 points. Race number 9. We go to the Indy 500. John 36th win for the United Kingdom. Jackie X is second for Belgium. Guy Ligia is third for France. Cavazos fourth for Mexico. And Scarfiotti rounding up the top 5 for Italy. Race number 10. We go to the Netherlands, and it's Epi Wheats that takes the win for Canada. Hans Hermann second for West Germany. Joe Siffert takes third for Switzerland. Paul Hawkins fourth for Australia. And Guy Ligia rounding off the top 5 for France. And Ludovico Scarfiotti finishes in 7th position for Italy. Race number 11, we go to the 24 Hours of Le Mans, and it's Ricardo Rodriguez Cavazos that wins for Mexico, Bobby Unser second for the United States, Jackie X third for Belgium, Paul Hawkins fourth for Australia, and Guy Ligia rounding up the top 5 for France. Scarfiotti of Italy finishes in 7th place. And to complete the third quarter of Group C, we go back to Belgium, and it's Guy Ligier takes the win for France, Joe Siffert is safe for Switzerland, Jackie X finishes third for Belgium, fourth is Rebecca Scarfiotti, and John Surtees rounds off the top 5. So with 4 races left to go, it is John Surtees that's now taking the lead with 179 points, only 2 points ahead of Rebecca Scarfiotti of Italy with 177 points. Guy Ligier is third for France with 171 points, fourth is Jackie X of Belgium with 168 points, and to round up the top 5 is Epi Weeds of Canada with 165 points, and Hans Hermann and Bobby Unser of West Germany and the United States respectively tying for the bottom spots with 115 points each. Going to race number 13, we go to Pikes Peak. Epi Weeks wins for Canada, Joe Siffert is safe for Switzerland, Lavika Scarfiotti is third for Italy, Ricardo Rodriguez Cavazos is fourth for Mexico, and Jackie X rounds off the top 5 for Belgium as John Surtees finishes in 8th place. Race number 14, we go to the Telegraph Trophy 200. Hans Hermann wins for West Germany, Guy Ligier is second for France, Joe Siffert is third, Epi Weeks fourth for Canada, and Bobby Unser rounding off the top 5 for the United States as John Surtees finishes in 9th place. Going to the penultimate race, at the Bugatti Circuit of France, Joe Siffert wins for Switzerland, John Surtees second for the United Kingdom, Epi Weeks third for Canada, Hans Hermann fourth for West Germany, and Guy Ligier rounding off the top 5 for France. And for the final race of Group C, we go to Silverstone, and it's John Surtees that wins his home race. Bobby Unser safe for the United States, third is Jackie X, Paul Hawkins fourth for Australia, and Hans Hermann rounding off the top 5. And the winner of Group C, it is John Surtees with 239 points. Epi Weeks finishes second for Canada with 229 points. Joe Siffert is third for Switzerland with 225 points. Lavika Scarfiotti is fourth for Italy with 220 points. In 5th is Guy Ligier of France with 218 points. Jackie X is 6th for Belgium with 211 points. Then it is 7th is Hans Hermann of West Germany with 170 points. 8th is Paul Hawkins of Australia with 165 points. Bobby Unser is 9th for the United States with 162 points. And in 10th place, Ricardo Rodriguez Cavazos of Mexico with 161 points. So with one group left to go before the final, let's take a look at the standings and see where everyone stacks up. So after Group C, we can see the Drivers' Championship is 3 Brits and 2 Canadians in the top 5. The United Kingdom are well out in front. The only team within 100 points of them is Canada, while Australia's not had a great result in Group C. They slipped down to 5th behind Switzerland and Italy. Italy have had a pretty decent round, but Canada had a really good round as well to try and catch up to the United Kingdom. But the United Kingdom are well out in front, and it looks like they're setting themselves up nicely to take the title home. But with Group D coming up, that could change before we head over to the 1967 final. Will something change? Will it be a dramatic shift, or will the United Kingdom continue to have a massive advantage? Without further ado, let's get to Group D and we'll find out. And here we go, it's Group D of the World Cup, and without further ado, let's get to the first race of the group as we head to South Africa. Dan Gurry wins for the United States, Jean-Pierre Beltois is safe for France, George Eaton third for Canada, fourth is Burley for Belgium, and Rico Stenneman rounds off the top 5 for Switzerland. Going to race number 2, we head to the 24 Hours of Daytona. Pedro Rodriguez wins for Mexico, Rico Stenneman is safe for Switzerland, Gianpiero Biscaldi is third for Italy, George Eaton fourth for Canada, and Herbert Lynch rounds off the top 5 for West Germany. Race number 3, we go to the 12 Hour Sebring. Pedro Rodriguez takes another win for Mexico, Dan Gurney second for the United States, George Eaton third for Canada, Jean-Pierre Beltois is fourth for France, and Jim Clark rounds off the top 5 for the United Kingdom. And to complete the first quarter of Group D, we go to the 1,000 kilometers of Monza. Dan Gurry wins for the United States, Herbert Lynch is second for West Germany, Gianpiero Biscaldi is third for Italy, Jim Clark fourth for the United Kingdom, and Rico Stenneman rounds off the top 5 for Switzerland. So 4 races in, it's Dan Gurry leading the way for the United States with 80 points, Pedro Rodriguez second for Mexico with 63 points, third is George Eaton with 54 points for Canada, Biscaldi is fourth for Italy with 50 points, and tied for fifth is Herbert Lynch and Rico Stenneman of West Germany and Switzerland with 49 points each. And at the bottom of the board currently it is Jack Brabham of Australia with 28 points. Going to race number 5, we go to the 1,000 kilometers of Spa-Francorchamps, and George Eaton wins for Canada. Jim Clark, 7th for the United Kingdom. Dan Gurney, 3rd for the United States. 4th is Jack Brabham, and Herbert Lynch rounds off the top 5 for West Germany. Going to race number 6, we go to Monaco. Jim Clark takes the win for the United Kingdom. Pedro Rodriguez, 2nd for Mexico. Biscali takes 3rd, and Burleys is 4th, and Herbert Lynch of West Germany rounding off your top 5, as Dan Gurney finishes in 6th place for the United States. And going to race number 7, we go to the Targa Florio, and Dan Gurney bounces back with another victory, with Biscali in 2nd for Italy, Pedro Rodriguez 3rd for Mexico, Jean-Pierre Beltois is 4th, and Jack Brabham rounding off your top 5. And to complete the first half of Group D, we go to the 1,000 kilometers of the Nürburgring, and it's George Eaton that takes the win for Canada. Jim Clark is 2nd, Herbert Lynch is 3rd for West Germany, Pedro Rodriguez is 4th, and Jack Brabham rounding off your top 5. And so with the first half concluded, leading the way, it is still Dan Gurney with 137 points. Pedro Rodriguez is 2nd with 121 points, which is one more than George Eaton of Canada with 120 points. Jim Clark is 4th for the United Kingdom with 115 points, and Gianpiero Biscali rounding off the top 5 for Italy with 105 points. And at the bottom of the board is currently Jack Brabham of Australia with 72 points. Going to race number 9, at the Indy 500, it's Jack Brabham that takes the win for Australia. Pedro Rodriguez is 2nd, Jim Clark is 3rd, Jean-Pierre Beltois is 4th for France, and Rico Steinman running up the top 5 for Switzerland, as Dan Gurney finishes in 9th place. Race number 10, we go to the Netherlands at Zandvoort. Burleys wins for Belgium. George Eaton is 2nd, Dan Gurney 3rd for the United States, Pedro Rodriguez 4th for Mexico, and Jack Brabham running up the top 5 for Australia. Race number 11, we go to the 24 Hours of Le Mans. Jim Clark takes the win with Jack Brabham in 2nd, Pedro Rodriguez is 3rd for Mexico, Burleys is 4th, and Herbert Lynch rounding off your top 5 as Dan Gurney finishes in 6th place. As to complete the third quarter of Group D, we go to Belgium, and Jim Clark wins again. Dan Gurney is in 2nd, Burleys is 3rd for Belgium, Jean-Pierre Beltois is 4th for France, and Gianpiero Biscali rounding off the top 5 for Italy. So with 4 races left to go, leading the way, it is still Dan Gurney and Jim Clark tying at the top with 190 points each. Pedro Rodriguez is 3rd for Mexico with 177 points. George Eaton is 4th for Canada with 168 points. And Burleys rounding off the top 5 for Belgium with 138 points. And at the back of the grid, at the bottom of the board, it's Rico Steinman of Switzerland with 115 points. Going to race number 13. We go to Pikes Peak. Dan Gurney takes the win. Jack Brabham is 2nd. Jim Clark is in 3rd. Jean-Pierre Beltois is 4th for France. And Rico Steinman running up the top 5 for Switzerland. Race number 14. We go to the Telegraph Trophy 200. Jim Clark takes the win with Gianpiero Biscali 2nd for Italy. George Eaton 3rd for Canada. Herbert Lynch is 4th for West Germany. And Jack Brabham rounding off the top 5 for Australia as Dan Gurney finishes in 10th place. And going to the penultimate race, race number 15. It is the Bigay Circuit of France. Jim Clark takes another victory. Pedro Rodriguez 2nd for Mexico. George Eaton 3rd for Canada. 4th is Burleys of Belgium. And Gianpiero Biscali running off the top 5 for Italy as Dan Gurney finishes in 6th place. And for the final race of Silverstone, Dan Gurney takes the win for the United States. 2nd is Pedro Rodriguez of Mexico. Burleys 3rd for Belgium. 4th is Herbert Lynch. And George Eaton running off the top 5 for Canada as Jim Clark finishes in 6th place. And the winner of Group D, it is Jim Clark with 266 points. Dan Gurney is 2nd with 256 points. Pedro Rodriguez is 3rd for Mexico with 235 points. In 4th is George Eaton of Canada with 219 points. Then Burleys is 5th for Belgium with 184 points. Then tied for 6th is Biscali and Jack Brabham of Italy and Australia with 179 points each. In 8th, Herbert Lynch of West Germany, 175 points. Jean-Pierre Beltois is 9th for France, 157 points. And Rico Steinman is 10th for Switzerland with 150 points. So with all 4 groups concluded, let's take a look at the standings before we head over to the final. So that is all 4 groups completed. Looking at the stats, it's Jackie Stewart's going to be the #1 driver going into the final, with Jim Clark in second. Dan Gurney giving the United States a bit of hope in third, even though they're well behind in 4th place in the nation's standings. John Surtees is 4th, with Craig Fisher and Pedro Rodriguez tied for 5th for Canada and Mexico. A great result for the two of them, with Canada in 2nd and Mexico all the way down in 8th position. Graham Hill is 7th, the 4th Brit. They're quite a bit behind his teammates, but still, this is setting the United Kingdom up nicely to take home another nation's title. And here are the drivers that have not made the top 24, but they have made the final 12 spots to make it to the final. I am massively surprised to see AJ Foyt is all the way down in 26th with only 180 points for his team. Moses Solana, I'm really disappointed in him. I really thought he was going to do well in his group. Same with Fred Van Buren of Mexico. They both have 179 points, along with Giampiero Biscaldi and Jack Brabham with 179 points as well. I'm really surprised Jack Brabham is all the way down there as well. Hans Herman 33rd, another massive shock. William Moraes and Bobby Unser 34th and 36th. Massively surprising results to see them both all the way down there. And here are the 4 drivers that did make the top 36, which means they will not qualify for the final. So we say goodbye to Ricardo Rodriguez Cavazos of Mexico. Jean-Pierre Beltois, I am really shocked to see that he has not made the final, down in 38th. Jean Venator is out as well for France. So France have had a really rough season. 2 of their drivers making the bottom 4 spots. Rico Steinman also going out for Switzerland. So with that result to the way, it's now time to move swiftly over to the final, and we will see if the United Kingdom will be able to take that title home, and can Jackie Stewart fend off Dan Gurney and his teammates to take home the driver's title. Okay, here we go. It is the final of the 1967 Formula World Cup, but before we get to the first race, we need to check all the drivers that have made the final. So we have got, all 10 teams have got at least 1 driver made through. Australia has Brian Muir, Frank Gardner, Jack Brown and Paul Hawkins, who are 10th, 17th, 30th and 35th going into this final. We've got Belgium with Jackie X, Lucy Bianchi, Burleys and William Moraes, who are 16th, 19th, 25th and 34th going into this final. Next up is Canada with Craig Fisher, Epi Weeks, George Eaton and Al Pease, who are 5th, 8th, 12th and 21st respectively. And next up we have France. We've got only 2 drivers made through, Guy Licia and Henry Grandsire, who are 13th and 24th respectively. Next up is Italy with Lovico Scarfiotti, Lorenzo Bandini, Leo Sella and Giampiero Biscaldi. They're 11th, 15th, 20th and 29th respectively. Mexico has 3 drivers made through, Pedro Rodriguez, Moses Solana and Fred Van Buren. They are 6th, 27th and 28th respectively. Next up, Switzerland with Joe Sifford, Andre Wicki and Dieter Spori. They are 9th, 22nd and 23rd respectively. The United Kingdom is next with Jackie Stewart, Jim Clark, John Surtees and Graham Hill. They are 1st, 2nd, 4th and 7th going into this final. The United States with Dan Gurney, Mario Andretti, AJ Foyt and Bobby Unser. They are 3rd, 18th, 26th and 36th respectively. And last but not least, West Germany with Jochen Neerpatch, Rolf Stoneman, Herbert Lynch and Hans Herren. They are 14th, 31st, 32nd and 33rd respectively. So that's all our 36 drivers for this final. Without further ado, let's get to race 1. We head to South Africa. Craig Fisher takes the win. Burleys is 2nd, Leo Sella is 3rd, William Moraes 4th, Bobby Unser 5th, Lovico Scarfiotti 6th, Dan Gurney 7th, Hans Herman is 8th, Andre Wicki 9th and Giampiero Biscaldi rounding off your top 10. We've got Jim Clark the 34th, Jackie Stewart is 33rd, Graham Hill 30th, Pedro Rodriguez is 23rd, Joe Sifford 19th, Epi Weeks 17th, John Surtees is in 13th position, O'Brien Muir 28th as well. Race number 2, we go to the 24 hours at Daytona. Joe Sifford takes the win, Jim Clark is 2nd, Rolf Stoneman is 3rd, Herbert Lynch is 4th, Pedro Rodriguez is 5th, Dieter Spori 6th, 7th is Guy Licia, Dan Gurney 8th, Brian Muir 9th and Leo Sella running off your top 10. Jackie Stewart is 34th, Epi Weeks 30th, Graham Hill 29th, John Surtees 25th and Craig Fisher in 11th position. Race number 3, we go to the 12th Sebring, and Giampiero Biscali of Italy takes the win. Jim Clark second, Jackie Stewart is third, Epi Weeks and George Eaton are 4th and 5th, Lucian Bianchi 6th, Frank Gardner 7th, John Thoris is 8th, Jack Brown 9th, and Jackie X rounding off your top 10. Pedro Rodriguez 35th, Dan Gurry 30th, Joe Sifford is 28th, Graham Hill 24th, Brian Muir in 18th, and Craig Fisher in 14th position. And to complete the first quarter of the final, at the 1000 clause of Monza, Joe Sifford takes another victory. Pedro Rodriguez second for Mexico, Dan Gurry is in 3rd, Joe Cheniers is 4th, AJ Foyt takes 5th, Leo Sella is 6th, Paul Hawkins is 7th, Al Pease is 8th for Canada, Brian Muir 9th, and Burley's running off your top 10. So we have Jim Clark 28th, Craig Fisher 23rd, Graham Hill 22nd, Epi Weeks 21st, John 30 16th, and Jackie Stewart in 13th position. So 4 races in, leading the way, it's Joe Sifford with 50 points. Jim Clark is second with 38 points. Third is Leo Sella of Italy with 35 points. Dan Gurry 4th in the United States, 33 points. And to round off the top 5 is Craig Fisher of Canada with 32 points. One more, and Giampiero Biscaldi in 6th with 31 points. And towards the bottom we got Graham Hill sitting on 0 points. Going to race number 5, we go to the 1000 clause of the Spa-Francorchamps, and Burley's wins for Belgium. Diaz-Spori is 2nd, Brian Muir is 3rd, Jim Clark takes 4th, AJ Foyt is 5th, Mario Andretti 6th, William Maurice takes 7th, Andre Wicki is 8th, Lorenzo Badini 9th, and Jackie X rounds off your top 10. So we have got Dan Gurry 31st, Epi Weeks 24th, John Thoris 23rd, Joe Sifford 19th, Pedro Rodriguez 18th, Jackie Stewart is 16th, Graham Hill 14th, and Craig Fisher in 11th. Race number 6, we go to Monaco. Fred Van Buren wins for Mexico, William Maurice is 2nd, Hans Herren is 3rd, 4th is Jack Brabham, Lavico Scarfiotti takes 5th, Lucian Bianchi is 6th, Brian Muir is 7th, Guy Leisure 8th, Craig Fisher 9th, and Joe Sifford rounding off your top 10. Jim Clark is 33rd, Graham Hill 32nd, Jackie Stewart 30th, Epi Weeks 29th, John Thoris is 20th, Pedro Rodriguez 18th, Dan Gurney is 15th. Going to race number 7, we go to the Targa Florio. Pedro Rodriguez takes the win for Mexico, John Thoris is 2nd, Jim Clark is 3rd, AJ Foyt is 4th, Mario Andretti is 5th, Jackie X is 6th, Al Pease is 7th, Craig Fisher is 8th, George Eaton is 9th, and Rolf Stolman rounding off your top 10 for West Germany. Dan Gurry is 35th, Brian Muir is 32nd, we've got Joe Sifford 22nd, Epi Weeks is 20th, Graham Hill is 16th, Jackie Stewart is 14th. And to complete the first half of this final, the 1000 clause of the Nürburgring, Dan Gurney takes the race win. Pedro Rodriguez is 2nd, Joe Sifford is 3rd for Switzerland, Joe Cheniers is 4th, Jim Clark is 5th, Al Pease is 6th, Fred Van Buren is 7th, Mario Andretti is 8th, William Maurice is 9th, and John Surtees rounds off your top 10. Brian Muir is 33rd, we have got Epi Weeks 25th, Jackie Stewart 16th, Craig Fisher 15th, Graham Hill is 14th, and that's it. And looking at the standings after 8 races, leading the way is now Jim Clark with 37 points. Pedro Rodriguez is 6th for Mexico with 73 points. Joe Sifford drops down to 3rd with 72 points. Dan Gurry 4th with 56 points. And to round the top 5 is Craig Fisher of Canada with 53 points. And towards the bottom is Graham Hill sitting on 4 points. Going to race number 9. The Indy 500, Jackie Stewart takes the race win. Jackie X is 2nd, Herbert Lynch is 3rd, AJ Foyt takes 4th, Andre Wicki is 5th, George Eaton 6th, Graham Hill is 7th, Mario Andretti 8th, Diaz-Spori 9th, and Jim Clark rounds off your top 10. Dan Gurry is 30th, Pedro Rodriguez 26th, John Thoris 23rd, Epi Weeks 22nd, Joe Sifford 16th, Craig Fisher is 14th. Race number 10, we go to the Netherlands. Lorenzo Bandini wins for Italy. Andre Wicki is 2nd for Switzerland. Guy Leisure is 3rd for France. Dan Gurney is 4th. Pedro Rodriguez is 5th. Mario Andretti takes 6th. Jackie X is 7th. Giampiero Biscali is 8th. Jackie Stewart 9th. William Maurice rounds off your top 10. Craig Fisher is 36th. Graham Hill 27th. Brian Muir 21st, John Surrey is 20th, Jim Clark is 18th, Joe Siffer is 12th, and Epi Weiss is 11th. Race number 11. We go to the 24 Hours of Le Mans, and it's Hans Hermann that takes the win for West Germany. John Surrey is second, Graham Hill is in third, Dan Gurley takes fourth, William Maurice is fifth, Moses Solana is sixth for Mexico, Burris is seventh, Dieter Spohr is 8th, Lorenzo Badin 9th, and George Eaton rounds off your top 10. Jim Clark is 34th, Joe Siffer is 31st, Brian Muir 29th, Craig Fisher 23rd, Jackie Stewart 19th, Epi Weiss 12th, and Pedro Rodriguez is 11th. And to complete the third quarter of the final, we go to Spa-Francorchamps, Belgium. Jochen Nierpach wins for West Germany. Jim Clark is second. Third is Dan Gurney. AJ Foyt is fourth. Lorenzo Badin fifth. Mario Andretti is sixth. Frank Gardner is seventh. Pedro Rodriguez is eighth. Joe Siffer is ninth. And John Surtees rounds off your top 10. Craig Fisher is 34th. Jackie Stewart 29th. Epi Weiss 18th. Graham Hill 14th. And Brian Muir is 11th. With 4 races left to go, leading the way, it is still Jim Clark with 101 points. Dan Gurney is second with 98 points. Pedro Rodriguez is third with 97 points. Fourth is Joe Siffer of Switzerland, with 83 points. And William Maurice rounds off the top 5 for Belgium with 65 points. One more than Mario Andretti and AJ Foyt, both from the United States, with 64 points each. Paul Hawkins is now bottom of the board for Australia with 4 points. Going to race 13. We go to Pikes Peak. It's Dan Gurney takes the win. AJ Foyt is second. Pedro Rodriguez is third. Moses Solana is fourth. Jackie Stewart is fifth. Frank Gardner is sixth. Jochen Nierpach is seventh. Graham Hill is eighth. John Surtees is ninth. And Guy Lecia rounds off your top 10. Joe Siffer is 36th. Craig Fisher 33rd. Epi Weiss 29th. Jim Clark 26th. Brian Muir is 17th. And that's it. Of those that started within the top 10 in the final. Race 14. The Telegraph Trophy 200. Joe Siffer wins for Switzerland. Pedro Rodriguez second. Frank Gardner third. Jack Brabham fourth. Craig Fisher is fifth. Lorenzo Badin is sixth. Jackie Stewart is seventh. Epi Weiss is eighth. Bobby Unser ninth. Fred Van Buren rounds off the top 10 for Mexico. John Surrey 35th. Jim Clark 34th. Graham Hill is 30th. Dan Gurney 19th. Brian Muir is 16th. And that's it to note of. Going to the penultimate race, we go to the Begay circuit in France. Al Pease wins for Canada. Jim Clark is second. Brian Muir is third. Pedro Rodriguez fourth. Moses Solana is fifth. Paul Hawk is sixth for Australia. Burris is seventh. John Surrey is eighth. Craig Fisher ninth. Lorenzo Badin rounding off your top 10. Epi Weiss is 34th. Graham Hill 30th. Dan Gurney 28th. Jackie Stewart 25th. Joe Siffer is 16th. And that's it, really. And for the 16th and final race of the final, we go to the Silverstone in the United Kingdom. Ludovico Scarfiotti wins for Italy. AJ Foyt is second. Andre Wicki is third. Graham Fisher is fourth. Craig Fisher is fourth. Graham Hill fifth. Bobby Unser is sixth. William Maurice is seventh. Burry is eighth. Joe Siffer is ninth. Frank Gardner rounding off your top 10. So we have got Jim Clark 20th. Brian Muir 21st. Dan Gurney 19th. Epi Weiss 17th. Jackie Stewart 14th. John Surrey 13th, and Pedro Rodriguez in 11th. And the person with the most amount of points in this final, that is Pedro Rodriguez with 151 points. Dan Gurney finishes second with 123 points. Third is Jim Clark with 119 points. Joe Siffer is fourth with 111 points. AJ Foyt rounding off the top 5 with 104 points. William is sixth for Belgium with 80 points. Craig Fisher is seventh with 79 points. John Surrey has 78 points. Lorenzo Badin ninth with 76 points. And Burris of Belgium running off the top 10 with 73 points. Jackie Stewart finishes the 11th, 72 points. Then it is Mario Andretti 12th with 63 points. 13th, Ludovico Scarfiotti with 62 points. 14th, Jackie X has 60 points. One more Brian Muir of Australia with 59 points. One further point ahead of Hans Hermann is 16th with 58 points. His teammate Jochen Nierpach is 1 point behind with 57 points. Frank Gardner is 18th, 55 points. 19th, Andre Wicki with 54. With 54 points. Right off the top 20 is Al Pease with Canada with 54 points. One more Alpes has 53 points. Andre Wiki 54. Graham held 21st 50 points. Then it's Fred Van Buren of Mexico with 49 points. Jesus Boy is 23rd with 43 points. Moses Solante is 24th with 40 points. Then it's Leo Sella with 38 points. Then a three-way tie for 26. Guy Leisha, Gianpiero Biscali, and Jack Bram all sharing 35 points each. Herbert Lynch and Epi Weitz rounds off the top 30, sharing 28 points each for West Germany and Canada. In 31st is Bobby Unser with 26 points. 32nd, George Eaton of Canada with 23 points. Roll Stolen is 33rd with 18 points. Then it's Paul Hawkins 34th with 17 points. And tying at the bottom, Henry Grandsire of France and Lucien Bianchi of Belgium with 14 points each. So with the final out of the way, let's take one final look at the standings and see who is the individual and nations champions. And here's the final results. The United Kingdom have secured their 9th Nations Championship title, with the United States second and Canada taking third. But what about the Drivers' Championship? Who would have thought we would have our first Mexican Drivers' Champion, Pedro Rodriguez, by only 1 point over Jim Clark? Dan Gurney put a ferocious fight to finish in third. Jackie Stewart had a disastrous final to go from first down to fourth. And Joe Seffert rounds up the top 5 for Switzerland. What a final we've had here. Who would have seen this one coming? I certainly did not. But wow, what a amazing result for Pedro Rodriguez. Mexico will be absolutely elated with that result. They did finish joint 5th with Belgium in the Nations Championship standings, but the fact they've got a drivers' champion in this season is utterly astounding. And here are the remaining drivers that did not make the top 24 at the end of the final. We got Dear Spore, the highest placed driver that did make the top 24 with 229 points, which is one more than joint 26 with Fred Van Buren and Hans Hermann of Mexico and West Germany. Really disappointing result for Lucien Bianchi to only get 14 points in the final to end up joint 28th with Moses Solana. A very disappointing final for Jack Brabham, ending up joint 30th, only scoring 35 points in that final. Paul Hawkins is the bottom of the board with 182 points after the final, after only scoring 17 points. What a incredible final we had. I am looking forward to the 1968 season. Will someone be able to stop the United Kingdom from making it a 10th title? What will Pedro Rodriguez do? Will he return for Mexico? Will he be able to defend that title after such an incredible season he's had here? Well, I'll look forward to the 1968 season. I hope to see you all there to see what other bits of drama we can find over there. And so I will see you over for the 1968 Formula 1 World Cup.